None of this was important.
Welcome.
Thank you.
To the 2019 Drama Coffee Talk. Folks at home or at work, I'm sorry for the delay. We had a little mix-up, and thanks, Miss Greenberg, for confirming that you can see and hear. We're here with Kelly Maxner, Brock Snyder. I'm Martin Farrell. Kelly's brought some students, and I think we're gonna have them introduce themselves.
Please. When we start with Cora.
Yes, hi, I'm Cora Thurber.
I'm Zoe Healy. I'm Sierra Corcoran.
I'm Daniel McNeil.
And we're ready for any and every manner of drama program related question. So thanks again for joining us. I think we had one email question come in so far.
We do, and I can read that question, and I believe Kelly can answer it.
Yes.
Yes. I understand that the ensemble will be attending NCTC College Discovery Day on November 23rd in Greensboro. I am guessing they will register themselves, but I want to double check. Do we register them, or will they handle this themselves?
Okay. Yes, we will be attending. That is not an ensemble mandatory assignment. It is for students who choose to do NCTC. One of the big reasons why we go to NCTC is it helps some students get a gauge on their monologues, because what you do at the NCTC audition is you step up in front of about 30 schools, and each one has their theater director there or a representative of the theater school and an admissions either representative being a student or the officer. After you do your monologue in front of those people, you are called back, and that is just to have an interview or a conversation with the school. Some students from that interaction come away with an offer to a school or sometimes some scholarship dollars. That is, in November, a really incredible thing to have in your pocket, because that can be considered a safety school, or at times that can be your prime school. Elon will be at NCTC, Catawba, UNCG, Western Carolina, Eastern Carolina, and a number of these schools we have students attending either as all the way up, freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors in their colleges from our ensemble. So we have seen NCTC be an incredible place for us to go. One, practice our audition material that's our first kind of interaction where we get notes from somebody outside of our kind of campus bubble, or from our guest artists. So yes, we will not register as an ensemble. Parents will need to register individual students. If there are more than 10 people in the ensemble signed up for it, then I will schedule a bus and we will go as an ensemble. I think that more than 50% is a good way to determine our engagement with transportation. If not, then it's like people will just go in cars with parents.
There's a second part. There's a parent session at the College Discovery Day. Is it okay for parents to register for that?
Yes. Yes. There's a lot of very specific information about North Carolina schools, really strong information about FAFSA and what to do after you're accepted into a school, or how to make your choice if you're accepted into 4 or 5 different schools. And I think that's some information that people don't really think to look for when they're kind of pursuing on their own. So it really helps kind of ask questions about and create different avenues of way to research and find schools that are really individually chosen and individually pursued. Okay, there's that question.
It's a good one.
Any others coming in?
I'll say too, for folks at home, if you have a Gmail account, you can register a question through the YouTube chat feature, And if you don't have Gmail, you can email Brock Snyder directly at snyderb@uncsa.edu. SNYDERB. What is the date for NCTC?
November 23rd. It's a Saturday. 8 a.m. And we go all day. Because the auditions start at, we arrive at 8, we check in, and then we have information sessions. We go to different information sessions, and then we have lunch, and then we start the auditions. I am not present at the auditions because I'm going to the junior auditions. I'm seeing juniors in high school and really seeing, there's about 80 juniors. And so I'm seeing their work and kind of, sometimes I hand out my business card and see the next generation coming up for next year. There's about anywhere between 100 and 120 different people auditioning that day. So during that audition, you go audition. That starts around 1 and lasts till around 3. You get your callbacks, and then from about 3 to 6, you go around and you have interviews and meet with different representatives of that college. You see work samples online at their booth and different things like that. We stay till around 6.
Can you elaborate a little bit about the pre-screening info? Just maybe touch on a few of the key points, how that progresses and.
Yes. The question is about pre-screening, and I'm just going to talk through kind of like the process of a pre-screen.
Okay.
For example, a North Carolina school, Elon, their pre-screens are due, they're coming up. And for the high school ensemble, we will shoot the pre-screens and make sure that every student has a solid take ready for their school, and that's what we provide. Now that can take hours. That's
Right.
hours for 20 students.
Wow.
That's hours and hours of filming, and we do a lot of that during our college seminar time. That's kind of time that we have dedicated to that. We will shoot some after rehearsals and weave that kind of time into our time. It's good to be on top of them and get them done early. We are ready. I know we've already shot some, so I know that we can talk a little bit about the process after and how it feels to submit them. Load up. But I think, what that is that you have to submit a pre-screen, and then you make it through that hurdle, and then that's the next step. Then you can finish the application. So, having that pre-screen in early is always better than rushing to get it in. Because it helps with the actual filming. Because then the actor can be calm and we can take 5 takes instead of, oh my gosh, I have to take these 2 because I have 4 more to film. So we're already filming and stepping in and already submitting in order to, for other things like Young Arts, which is a competition that we're submitting for. Elon is coming up, DePaul is coming up, the early actions and early decisions are coming up. And so we're ready, we're already going on it, and it's for the students to feel ready. I think it is really about making sure that the material is in line with what the school is asking for, and that they're ready with the material.
Thank you.
They like to have a slate, which is, does anybody want to do a slate?
My name is Zoe Healy, and my piece is from Measure for Measure by William Shakespeare in the role of Isabella.
And that's very, into the camera, straightforward right there, so they can just see a very kind of straightforward thing. And then they step into their work. The time limits are anywhere from 60 seconds to 2 minutes. And you can work, sometimes you have to cut a piece in order to fit it into their timeline. A lot of the schools are using pre-screens because they have so many people auditioning for them. UNCSA college program is right on the cusp of having to go into pre-screens because they have, I think, once they get 1,000 people auditioning for them, that's not humanly possible to go sit down and watch each, it's like, if 1,000 people, 7,000 minutes of watching material. It takes seven minutes per person. So the pre-screen is there from a lot of mostly musical theater schools, but more and more it's going to be conservatories. Liberal arts, not so much. They might ask for a video supplement for the application, but that's different. Sometimes that pre-screen is just sit down in front of the camera and tell me something interesting about yourself. It's a video interview, answer certain questions. The pre-screens are excellent training for the profession because so much now is about you self-taping. So along with the pre-screens, there's also less classes, intensives in how to put yourself on tape. Because now, and I'm sure we're gonna start getting calls and we'll start submitting ourselves for the Disney stuff, all the, there's so many things that we can start putting in for, even though because all the calls come out. So your ability to put yourself on tape only opens you up to being able to submit yourself for that next national call where they're looking for the next Evan Hansen or something like that. Any other questions coming in? Are people watching?
Yeah, 7 now.
7. Well, can I ask some questions?
Go for it.
Would you mind talking a little bit about how you're approaching how you're gonna find the college that's best for you?
Yes. So for finding the college, the university, because I'm looking more at a conservatory. So I find that very important. So finding a program that's gonna do what I want, because like I said, I'm looking for a conservatory, so my approach is getting a list, because you gave us a list of universities that you recommend and stuff like that have good programs for what we want to do. I want to do straight acting. So it's going into or onto that university's website and looking at the teachers and looking as to what the classes are like, looking at their season, shows they're doing and shows they're performing, and just going based off that information that you have, seeing what would be best fit for you. And also you have to take in tuition and stuff like that because these colleges can get very expensive, especially in certain locations like New York and Chicago. They get very pricey. So I have to take that into consideration. So it's just about going to the different colleges or the different universities' websites of ones that I'm interested in that have programs, and just looking at where their teachers are from, what universities they're from, and maybe what they've done, if they've directed, been in shows, if they've been on Broadway and stuff like that. And then just if I know anyone who goes to that college or has gone to that college, I'll talk to them. I'll ask them about it and see if they have any insight. And if I know them well enough, then see how they feel about me going. But it's mainly just about doing your research on certain things.
Yeah. I think with the conservatories, that's where our network of students will really be able to help.
Yes.
Because we have several people in different classes at those schools that you're looking
Yes.
for.
Yes.
Cora, can you talk a little bit about your?
Yeah, so I'm really interested in more of a liberal arts approach and getting a BA as opposed to a BFA. So not so much the conservatory, but essentially what I did is I'm really interested in gender studies and theater, so I poked around at universities that seemed really cool, or I knew they had a really interesting gender studies program or a really interesting theater program, and I tried to find ones that had both. And a big thing that helped me was looking at what courses they offer and reading the descriptions of those, and even the language used on websites talking about their programs told me a lot about what their values are. So if they were using a lot of language that really appealed to me in the way that they were describing their classes and what they had to offer, then I would be interested. So I looked at those in terms of out of state, and I looked at a few, like Fordham University is one I'm looking at, and they have a really good acting program, and that's a BA. So it's kind of a spectrum in terms of how well known the acting program is. And then in terms of in-state, because yeah, money is a big thing. So again, just going around to those websites and reading what courses they have, and looking, yeah, definitely looking at who teaches there and talking to people who live there. And then one big thing that's really important for me is setting and where it is. So also looking at, well, what kind of community is the college and what kind of opportunities do they have for actors there? And then also in terms of gender studies, like what are their values on this campus and like what's their general, I guess, attitude towards that sort of program is something that's really important to me as well.
Great. Sierra?
Yeah, so something that I'm looking at is taking a gap year next year, actually. I'm really interested in, I kind of don't want to just rush right into my next 4 years of college. I'm kind of interested in not just taking a break. I want to go work in New York. I have some family friends, and I have some connections up. I have a family friend who's about a modern dancer in New York, and I want to kind of room with her and see just how city life is, because I'm applying to lots of New York schools, but like schools like NYU where you're literally living in the city, I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it, like, because I've never done anything like that. So I want to kind of try living in the city and how that lifestyle is completely different from like where I live in Chapel Hill. And then also I'm really interested in more of a, not necessarily liberal arts approach. I do want to do a double major. I'm kind of interested in a business degree and a BA degree, or BFA if I could do arts administration, which is kind of, I know Elon has a really good arts administration program where you can do like the business side of theater and acting and arts and also do arts classes, because I think not just having a backup plan, but like having something, some other like skill set I think is super, super important. So I want to do intensive acting, but also have other skills that I can reach out into. And so like I'm also looking at Fordham, and then I'm looking at schools like Elon, which have the arts administration, and then I think Michigan also has an acting program with a business arts administration degree. So those kinds of things are things that I'm really looking at and I think are really important.
Nice. And I just have to say that I hope we move away from the idea of backup plans.
Yes.
And understand that I think what the industry demands is that you can't just have one plan. You have to have 4 or 5 different plans. And they're not backup plans, they're just plans.
Yes.
They're just like, my path is like, I have to be a diverse mind, a diverse talent, really being able to pull from all of my interests in order to find success in life. And success not being monetary, success being what you created as what it means to you.
Yeah.
You know, very, very different for each of us at the nice white table.
Me?
Yes.
I'm looking more at a BFA conservatory style college, preferably a conservatory within a larger university. And for me, what I see myself doing in the future, I'm really into TV and film acting. That's what I really want to do. So I'm looking at a lot of schools in California and London and New York. And yeah, basically the same process as everybody else, just going on their website and doing the research, looking at the faculty, researching the faculty, looking at the alumni, see what they're doing. Yeah.
Okay. You know, this is my 14th year doing this particular job at this institution. I've also taught at the South Carolina Governor's School and then at Performing Arts High School in Massachusetts. And it's so crazy to see over the long period of time how the college application process has complexified and just grown and become very expensive, and it's just a really remarkable thing to go through, a remarkable process to go through. You learn a lot about yourself by where you choose to go, and you have to ask a lot of questions about kind of like your career and where you see yourself in the future, and it's tricky stuff. And some of us, it's nice to hear you all are like, oh yes, I've got something.
Yes.
But I think it's so great to even leave the field open and to not have to know, to leave that field open and go, I wanna move in this direction, but maybe not commit to a very conservatory field, but just kind of discover. I think that's also a very nice thing to have in our lives. Did that generate any kind of conversation?
They're just in awe. No, but I mean, it was a big piece of the feedback last year that parents appreciated most was hearing from you. Both your plans, but also how school's going, what your days are like.
How's school going?
School's going really good, really
Yeah.
well for me. Excuse me. That's one thing they're teaching me. School good. I think for me it's going really well. I really like it because I think like where I used to go to school is I was so interested in learning in all my classes, but I just felt like I was taking these mandatory classes that would weigh me down about. And there has yet to be a moment where I've walked in the door or started class and I thought, oh no, here we go, or here I am, I wish I was somewhere else. So it's going really well. I enjoy all my homework. I've never been doing homework and thought, I wish I wasn't doing this. So for me, I'm really loving it. And I think it's great for me because I like the arts, and then the academics is also something I'm very interested in as well. So I like the combination, and yeah. Loving it.
I mean, the days are like really long. I don't know if I've worked these long of days. Like even at my old school when we'd have rehearsals till 9, it was just different. Like it was just the whole environment. So they're really long days, but kind of like Cora said, like I usually at my old school, I didn't like the way the academics were structured. It was very like, do this, do this, do this, and very just like, there was no like seeming purpose behind it. But like one of my favorite classes, my academic classes, is film studies. And I took it because I'm also, like Zoe said, I'm also interested in like film acting and stuff. And so I love learning about how like different camera shots and different like aesthetics can help make a film, and it's not just about the acting. And I just feel like even my stats class and like my science class, I can find a way to tie into my art, and I think that's great. And I didn't have a way of doing that in my old school, and it just makes it more fun. And I feel like I'm going in there with a purpose. I'm not just going in there to do my math class. I'm going in there, and then my teachers are all, oh my God, they're all so supportive.
Yes.
Like every time I walk in, they're like, hi, how are you? And like they're like genuinely happy to see me, and it's so great. So.
I mean, it's very obvious that the teachers here care and are willing to work with you and understand what you're going through, because a few of them have been here quite a few years, so they understand that it is a lot. Like, school is a lot. You have a lot of work and you have a lot of classes, and like Sierra said, it's a very long day. But we have a lot of independence, which I enjoy. I enjoy having independence, I enjoy having freedom, but with that comes responsibility and time management, and that is a skill I have definitely learned, because we do have homework, and like Cora said, like I enjoy doing my homework. I enjoy sitting down at my desk and feeling accomplished when I finish it. So it's just being able to sit down and like balancing your life and working with the people around you. So it's very nice. I very much love it here.
Yeah.
I can change the subject if you want me to.
No.
Or I
I've-
could step out.
No, well today was a special day for me because today was the first day I slept through my alarm and was late to my first class.
I've done that.
So today has been a different day for me. But which is weird because back home, so I'm out of state, and back home I usually get up really early. Like I'm a morning person. But here I'm not a morning person, and it's really throwing me off. Like my alarm at home will go off at 6 a.m. and I'll just be right up. I'm like, okay, what do I have to do? Get ready. But here my alarm goes off at 6:30, like snooze it, and then I like wake up at 7:30. I'm like, okay, let's rush now.
Let's go.
But yeah, and so I've never been to an arts high school before. A lot of people have come here, like going to an art school prior, and my high school back at home was a very football and sports high school and arts were kind of like, they're there, but they're not the focus. So it's really cool to see how how driven people are. Everybody here is here because they love what they're doing, and all the teachers are so supportive, like everybody else said, and yeah, everybody finds a way to incorporate the arts into their classes. My AP Lit teacher every single day finds a way to incorporate arts into our class, so it's great.
And also going off that, it's very nice because we're an ensemble of 20, and it's very nice to just have these 19 people, these 19 other people to be there to support. They know what you're going through for the most part because you have classes with them and you all have drama classes together. So it's very nice to just have these people to lean on and support you, and you can support them. And they're kind of like, in a sense, built-in friends. I mean, you still have to get to know each other, but you're together. So it's very nice. It's very nice to have. It's very supportive.
I was, to anyone that's watching, do you have questions about particular schools? You know, if you had any questions maybe about the list that I hand out, or how we are finding that unique school.
I did just get a couple here, not specific to that, but the first one was, how are the students handling the load of academic work, drama requirements, and college research applications?
Very carefully.
Time management.
Let me think about this first
those
before I
three things
speak.
are on their shoulders, and then one slips and they catch it, and the other, and then they've got them, but it's not stable quite yet.
Yeah.
Can I speak on that?
Am I right about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not stable quite yet, and we're getting to that stability. And I feel very confident that we'll all achieve that stability. I think that it's just been a huge workload put on you. And it took a while for you to see kind of like all of it. And then there was a moment when you committed to it again. And so there's a recommitment to when the workload grows again and again, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna take on this school, I'm gonna apply to this school, it means a whole other application. And you commit to it again. And so that's the passion that I've seen, is that there's constant like, whoa, okay, here I go, yes. Another one, okay, yes. And so it's really taking a lot of that on.
Yes.
And you're just about to just get your arms around it, get your mind around it, and then really tackle it. But that's, you guys talk.
Yeah. I mean, is this the second week with both academics and arts?
I'm losing track.
Yes,
This is the end of week 2.
Yeah, the end of week
Yes.
2. Yes.
Yeah. So, personally, as a person who's not the greatest at time management, this has been an interesting challenge. But it's only week 2, and you have your arts classes and the homework with that. You have your academic classes, the homework with that. You have a social life. You have personal time, like for yourself. And there's sadly only 24 hours in a day, and not enough time for everything. So sometimes you have to compromise. Like last night, I know some people were hanging out somewhere on my hall. A lot of like the drama girls. And they were doing homework, but they were like also talking and hanging out. And I just know personally for me, I can't get homework done. But like I wanted to hang out with them. So I ended up doing homework in my room by myself. But I felt like, oh, I want to like hang out with people. But like sometimes but then you have like the weekends and stuff. So like sometimes you just have to like make compromises like that. So yeah.
I mean, I've noticed I've had to make like, exactly like Zoe was saying, conscious decisions on like, I'm gonna focus on this, I'm gonna get this done, and once I get this done, I can move on to the next thing. But you do have to have a social life, you do have to, because having that support group, having people there to hang out with, that is very important, especially at a place like here. Connections are very nice to have. So you do have to focus on that, but you also need to take into account that grades are a thing, and you're here to focus on your arts too.
Yeah.
So it's just balancing that and making conscious decisions on like, I'm gonna focus on this, and then I can do this. So doing one thing at a time, really. That's what helps.
And I think also like I felt like for me all through high school everybody gives you all this time management advice, and then all 3 years I was like, okay, but I'm fine. I don't have to listen to that, and I still get good grades.
Doing good.
So who cares? And now here I'm like, oh, that's what that was for.
That makes sense now.
We should have listened to that.
So I'm kind of going back into what I had been told by my parents and by my teachers, and the whole thing where you write down every single little thing you have to do, and then you scratch it off as soon as it's done. I just think it's almost nice being here where, because I have so much to do, I'm forced to have the level of organization and time
Yes.
management that I've always wanted, but I didn't have to do it because I could get away with it. But here you can't get away with it. So I think it's really helpful.
Something I found that's like super helpful for me is that I can focus in groups and I bring music along with me, but like I call them like homework parties. So like I'll go into like people's rooms, or we'll all go in a group to the library. So it gives me a chance to like, I don't necessarily have to talk with everybody, but I can be with a support group and still like hang out with people, but we're all working together. And like there'll be times when we'll like take a break and like talk and chat, or maybe get a snack. But then there are times when we get on like a homework grind and we just don't talk, but we're all there with each other, and it's just really supportive. And it really helps me focus, honestly. Like if I put in music and then I look to my left and there's my friend like also working, it's just like, yeah, we got this. Like it's just really nice to have that group. And then it also gives you a chance to socialize in between, and you're not just stuck in your room by yourself doing work. Because for me, that gets really boring and I can't focus by myself because I get distracted. I'm like, oh, what's that across my room? And then I get distracted by it. So it's like, it's helpful when I have other people. So,
It's knowing what you can and cannot do.
Yeah.
That's very important.
oh, and the library's great. If you go to the library, you will get so much stuff done. Like, oh my gosh.
Third floor of the library.
Oh, that is
Oh my
my
God.
Endless
favorite.
plays.
Oh,
So nice.
it's very nice.
Third floor, magical.
It's my favorite floor.
A couple more. During orientation, the intensive arts time in December was briefly mentioned. Could you say a little bit more about what will go on during that time?
That is, during orientation, it was mentioned that that would be a good time to go visit colleges. I have reached out to Elon to see if we might go visit Elon as a group. And just take a college visit during that time. But if somebody wants to go, that is a good time to go, where it doesn't affect academics, and the arts kind of is really open to that. During that time, though, for the arts classes, there aren't any academics at that time, so the arts classes will be dedicated to intensives. Last year, and it's different every year. Last year, I had 2 guest artists come in to build a piece on the ensemble, and we also did monologue intensives, and the artists teaching children in hospitals came in. Arch won't be coming in intensive arts. We've already worked their schedule out that they will be in March and April. So I am currently looking for the interests in the ensemble, really seeing how the ensemble develops. Like I already have directors who have approached me saying they want to direct. Writers approached me saying they want this opportunity. So now how can I create that opportunity? So I'm still sounding and listening to the ensemble to see what kind of guest artist I need to bring in. There have been years when the ensemble is mostly musical theater, so I would bring in a tap artist or something like that. That is not the case this year, so we're waiting to hear, I'm waiting to kind of see what that wants to be.
I noticed pace was not on the list. Is there a reason why? And I'm
No reason as to why. I think there's a lot of schools that I would put on the list, and then some that I would actually like take off or move down, purely because the faculty at those schools has changed. There have been a lot of retirements, and when, for example, we have a new teacher at UNCSA named Cameron Knight. You just went and watched his rehearsal, yeah? He was, 2 years ago was the head of DePaul. And he left DePaul, and that really changed DePaul. It really said DePaul was going in this direction as opposed to that direction. And that changes kind of like where they are. as far as how much I know about them and can say about them to a student, and things like that. Pace is really a nice school because it's a growing, acting for film program. They try to diversify their acting, and so, no other reason, so we can put it on there. Any other schools?
Just a thank you.
I highly, highly recommend some digging deep into the North Carolina schools. ECU is growing in its ability to serve students as a dance, as a triple threat, as a musical theater program. Elon is in Western as well. Western, even though it's known for its musical theater, because of one of our alums that works down there, or up there, over and up, that I would look deep into its acting for camera and its acting for television program. So there's a lot of North Carolina schools that have very kind of unique, smaller programs that aren't necessarily on the national scene, yet you're getting great education for, a fifth of us. And graduating out of that debt is very good place to be when you're a young person. You don't shoulder anybody with that kind of money.
There's grad school to think about if you want to go there.
Yes, also grad school. Yeah, we're in the thick of it. Trying to figure out, what schools we can commit to in order to start those applications.
How many do they typically apply to?
10 or 12
Okay,
is a good kind of number.
okay.
And you can 6 to 8, you can go up from there, but that's, I think, is a good average. For those people that are going for the conservatories. The conservatories are highly competitive, and you want a range. I mean, Juilliard is like, if you want to go for it, then here we go, but really, we have to go at it realistically.
It's in parentheses on my list. Juilliard. It's like
Yeah,
at the top
it's
in
definitely,
parentheses.
they call it a reach school. That's like that is definitely a reach school. And so if you have
The reach school.
8 reach schools, because UNCSA, Carnegie Mellon, and all the conservatories are the same way. Juilliard is that way, but all of them are the same way. And so to diversify your portfolio of what you're auditioning for is a very good thing to do.
The question was, how many schools do students typically apply to?
10 to 12.
Yeah.
Now, if you're going to Unifieds, you can do walk-ins and actually audition for 20. And not necessarily have to pay for that, because you're at Unifieds and there are ways, they have walk-ins. So you can audition for more than you apply to. And that's what NCTC really helps us do. It's like we don't apply for all of those schools, but they get to see us and we get to audition for them. Maybe that's a better model for these Unifieds. Like Common App or Naviance, it's like we pay one fee and then we get to audition for all of those schools as opposed to each one.
And as a follow-up to the unified comment, are there schools that do not come to unifieds at all?
Yes. The London schools, they do not come to, they might hit the Chicago ones, but I don't think they're gonna hit the New York ones. But there are
But they hold auditions like in New York. It's just not like part
Part
of
of
Unifieds.
So some of those timings are different. And then there are some schools that don't even go, you have to go to them. But those are mainly the liberal arts schools.
I think it's also, with all this talk about college, I think a really important note is that we're not just doing college all the time. And I think that's really important is that, like, even in our discussions, like, I've had friends, I'm like, we can't talk about college anymore for the next month. Like, we've reached our limit. And in class, we do things that's not directly related to college, and we're learning a lot. I'm learning a lot. I don't know about other people. I'm learning a lot. And don't want to, but so I think that's really important to note is that maybe we're not getting lectured about colleges or auditions, but we're still learning really important things that I'm enjoying. And even if I decided I want to be a lawyer by the end of this year, I would still have so much to walk away with. And it's only been 3 weeks, but I think that's important.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I appreciate you bringing that up, because that is one of the key things, and other ways of shouldering the workload is that we put the stress away, we put the nerves away, the anxiety away, and really reconnect with why we're here.
Yeah.
And reconnect as being artists and that, yeah, thanks.
This is kind of an individual question for you, but do you think it's worth it for me to go to NCTC if the only schools I'm looking at in North Carolina are Elon and UNCSA?
I mean, worth it, that's a difficult, it gives you a chance to practice.
Yeah.
I think that's a financial question. You know, it's another audition. So if you can afford something like that, then yes. Otherwise, I would say no.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why it's not mandatory. It's not a mandatory thing because the entrance fee.
Yeah.
So we're about to have mock auditions with Cameron Knight. He's going to be coming in. So the gentleman who ran DePaul, who has seen thousands and thousands and thousands of auditions of high school seniors trying to get into school, will take us through a session. And then the dean, Scott Ziegler, will come in and at the end of October to come in and take us through another similar thing. And I really appreciate that he does that, because
Amazing.
it gives you the knowledge that if you're auditioning for UNCSA, you're gonna audition with a very individual, personal touch from the dean. And I appreciate that. That's not something that our program has always had, and I just appreciate that he is bringing that attention to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Besides time management, if I can ask you guys, what is there any other struggle that you feel like maybe you all had? I know that sounds kind of vague, but I'm just wondering.
Missing home for me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's kind of hard to see a lot of the ensemble go home for the weekends, and then them come back and like, oh, it was so hard, like, seeing my mom again, because now I'm back and I miss her even more. And I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna see my mom till Thanksgiving. It's just hard for me to, like, see that going on.
Yeah, I think missing home's a collective issue, though. Like, yeah, like, I know I like having independence, I really do, but, like, it's also sometimes hard when I usually could just go to my kitchen and be like, Mom, I need help, and, like, now she's, like, a phone call away, and it's still fine, it's just, like, the whole, like, you're, I don't know, 17 years of your life, you've had that, and it's just, I feel like that's I don't know, I'm not gonna speak for everyone, but I know that's, like, something that people have talked to me about, just being like, I'm in my dorm, and my parents aren't right here, or my sister, like, it's, me and my sister are super close, and so it's weird not having, like, a little sister, you know? Like, it's just different.
Well, I have 3 younger boys, so if y'all ever want to come to the party. No, I can't imagine that struggle.
I think also adapting to the environment here, at least for me, because one of my favorite things about living at home was just going to the grocery store, going to restaurants, and I get so excited. It's like specifically in acting, that's something that always gets me really excited, is just going places and seeing people buy mac and cheese. Like, for some reason, I just love doing that so much. So being here, where, while we can go to, like, Winston-Salem and we can leave on the weekends, it's such a contained environment. I think some people have been having a hard time adjusting to that. And like, we can eat at 2 places for dinner and stuff like that. So just things like that. It's really great, and I love it here. Like, I'm not saying this is a bad place to be. It's great, but I think adjusting to such a small environment.
How are y'all feeling about res life? And I'll be quiet, sorry. I have all these questions because Jeffrey's not here, so I can ask.
Like Daniel mentioned it before, where we have a lot of freedoms, but personally for me, just like the freedoms like I'm not used to having.
Yeah.
Like, and the freedoms that I was used to having have been like taken away.
Yeah.
Just like
It's an exchange.
having I'm not a troublemaker, and my parents have a really good relationship, and they like trust me to like go out, and they don't have to like ask me like where you are right now, what are you doing right now. Like I can just like drive out, go with my friends and not tell them, hey, I'm leaving the house. Like they just like trust me with that. So it's like kind of weird to constantly sign in and sign out.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
And then also, I mean, back home, I just naturally have a lot of guy friends, just because girls can just be a little bit too dramatic for me sometimes. But and just like, it's kind of weird for me that the only hangout spot for us, like in the residence life, is like this common area. Like I get the concern of like girls and boys aren't allowed to go to each other's room, but like, you know, like we're not doing anything we shouldn't be doing, you know, like we're just hanging out, and that's something that I'm like,
Yeah.
why can't I do that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting locked, like, you can't leave the building after
Yeah, that's
11.
really
That's one
weird.
thing that was really, well, after 10 on weekdays, like, that just for me, because I think the thought being there, because
Yeah.
I just liked at home, it's like, oh, if I need to go get fresh air, I can. But
like,
then
you're in the building.
here. But then it can also be kind of nice, because I feel like I do my homework more now, because it's like, well, what else am I going to do? I mean, like, I have friends there, it's great, but it's also like, I can't leave, I can't go, I don't know, buy foods. So anyway, I just do my homework, so it's nice.
Also, communal bathrooms are something that
Yeah, I have to get used to that.
I'm getting used to.
It's just weird, like, going to, like, because usually I had a bathroom that was, like, right next to my actual bedroom in my house, and now, like, having to walk down a hallway to go to, like, a public restroom, like, I usually don't like public restrooms. That's just, like, a thing for me. I don't know why.
No, same.
But, like, it's just not my thing. So, like, it's just weird that that's the only option. Like, I'm not complaining about it. Like, I get it. And that's how a lot of colleges work. So it's kind of nice getting used to it now, because if I end up going somewhere
yeah.
where that's a thing, then I will just, it won't even be an issue for me. But, like, it definitely is a little weird. Like, I'll wake up at night and be like, crap, and it's, like, all the way down the hallway.
It is nice though that I feel like next year, like when I actually go to college, I'll be like, I got this. Like
Yeah,
I
very
figured
true.
out this whole dorm situation. But also the air quality in the dorms. I don't know about any of your dorms, but my air conditioner, like the room is just so stuffy. And I remember the first week, I think we were all like
Getting sick all the
coming down with something, and it was just like getting exposed to all these new germs. But I'm kind of convinced that there's mold in my
I'm sorry.
air
what?
conditioner.
I'm sorry.
I'm convinced, but I mean, I'm fine now. But it was just like it was just like
Everybody
getting
was coughing.
it was no.
I can testify. Everybody was
No, and I felt so congested, and I was like, this is not good. So
Going off what Cora said, it is like finding alone
Gotta be
time
honest,
is something
yeah.
very important to me. And I am constantly surrounded by people because I have a roommate in my room. And it's really nice because we do have like a different class schedule. So that's very nice and everything. But like still just finding alone time and time to just be with myself and just think freely and just, I don't know, just something about being alone for me is kind of comforting. Because I do want to be with people and I very much enjoy being with people. But there are times when I just feel like I need to be alone. I need to just be in my little space and just be able to think. So that sometimes can be hard to find. Now you can go to the library and stuff like that, but that still is like a public place. But like I said, with my roommate, we're on different schedules. So I do get the room to myself sometimes, and that is very nice to have. So it's just struggling to find time to be alone and think.
But also be alone with not the fear that you're missing out on something.
Yes, FOMO is a real thing. Fear of missing out.
Yeah. I just kind of keep telling myself we're here for so long. Like in terms of like we're here for 9 months. So whenever I'm like, oh, those 15 minutes, I'm like, it's fine. Yeah, I've got time. So, but I think a lot of people struggle with that and just kind of
Yeah.
do I laugh with friends for 15 minutes or do work?
I only have 8 months and a week left.
No.
Yeah. It's just sometimes hard prioritizing because I know FOMO's like a thing for me, and I like doing things with groups, but then I know I'll be stressed out later if I don't work on Common App or if I
Yes.
don't work on my stat homework for a test or something. So it's definitely been kind of difficult prioritizing what's important. And some days hanging out with friends is more important than, because like you just need that social interaction and you need to be around people. But then it's sometimes hard to be like, okay, I can actually step away from this because, you know, we will be here for a long time. And if I miss that one hangout, we will be okay.
And getting ahead, like I love being ahead at my old school. I would do assignments like as soon as I got them. Here it's much more difficult I find to get ahead because I get out of academic classes and that's usually when I immediately do my homework, but now I have arts classes I go to. And then after that I have rehearsals and stuff. So and then like the work piles up and I'm able to get through it because like it's not unreasonable. It's not an unreasonable amount of work. It's just it is a lot of work. So just getting ahead is something I find difficult to do. So I'm able to manage. It's just maybe not enough to my liking that I can. So
But also like keeping track of everything that you have to
that's
get
true.
done.
Because
Like,
if you don't write
oh,
it down, whoop,
I have
it's
a
gone.
reflection and voice, but I also have an essay in AP Lit, but I also have to print out this song
And scenes.
Oh my god, I
and
forgot about that song.
scenes, neutral scenes. And then I have an
Neutral
AP Human
scenes.
Geo reading quiz. Oh, look at that. And
Yeah.
then, an AP Stats test. So it's just like,
Baby stat test will be fine.
Yes.
Now, on Wednesdays, when y'all are with Mr. Maxner, how
Yes.
does that look? I'm curious, just to know, like, what are the
Wednesdays?
things you're doing?
Is that college seminar?
Yes.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought you
Yeah.
were having Arts Wednesday. sorry.
Oh, that too. Actually, you can share both.
Well, Brock and I are actually in college seminar together during
Okay.
that time.
Okay.
And the last class that we did was the Naviance and Common App. And
That was really
that was
helpful.
everybody
Yes.
getting
Nice.
Very
Common App,
When I was getting
matched
texts.
Naviance,
Okay.
all online, all the portfolios set up so that we're ready to apply for schools.
Okay.
And lots of troubleshooting problems with all of that. So that Wednesdays are like, well, next Wednesday we have an in-service day. So that class is actually we're doing different things. We have you've been scheduled to do different things. And we have faculty development. But the Wednesday after that is essays. So I'm gonna bring in the English teachers and we're gonna talk
great.
about essays and we're gonna, essays are already being written, they're already being handed in and going through, but there's that, and then it's filming pre-screens during that
Okay.
time, and Brock is there to troubleshoot Naviance and all the different things that come up, and, so that's a lot of what that time is right
Cool.
now. It changes as we go through the process as to what we need to be doing.
yeah. And like with pre-screens, personally, for me, I'm trying to get them in as soon as possible because I'm not going to Unifieds and audition slots can like fill up really quickly, and just like to find out, oh, did I pass this pre-screen? Should I continue? Can I send in the Common App? Should I pay an extra $60, you know? So I actually submitted my first pre-screen yesterday, which was exciting to Elon. Yeah. So I'm definitely working, so this weekend, and also like scheduling weekends I think is very important for me, because like last weekend I scheduled like working on monologues, and this weekend I'm gonna work on the Common App and monologues too, because over the next 2 weeks I wanna film the rest of my pre-screens. Hint, hint.
Yes?
A quick tip, I guess, to Zoe's point about air quality. parent said we put a small $35 humidifier in Gary's room to help with allergies, and it greatly improved the air quality.
Yeah, we also did.
She said I ordered it on Amazon and drop shipped it to his box. So I don't. It's $35, but it might be.
I mean, that's worth it.
Yeah, we also did that in our room. It works very well. It's very nice.
And I guess it doesn't have to be a $250
No,
dehumidifier.
no.
And then there's this question for you, Kelly. Is the ensemble working well together?
I think we are.
Or maybe not for Kelly, maybe.
No,
for-
no, I think, the reason why I look at them is, it's like, we're 3 weeks in, and so, yes, we are. And from what I see, yes, we are. And I see rehearsals, I see scene partners, I see us working together as an ensemble. Everybody's engaged. Now there's drama that I see, and then there's drama that I don't see. And so that was my look, is because you know more about some of the inner workings of the ensemble than I do.
Yes.
What you were saying about, doing your homework, and, you're doing your homework and you look over and you see somebody else working. I feel like that's the kind of ensemble that we have.
Yeah.
And I usually
That-
do it with drama kids, so.
That's what it feels like right now, and I hope that we can maintain that. Is that, you know what, we all got our heads down right now, and we look up for a moment, and we see that we're working together, and we can take a break together, and we can talk together, but the main thing is about this workload that we have to tackle. And so that's what it feels like right now. We're having a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's
the-
fun.
just one thing that I noticed in our last class, we just had a movement class and we were doing circus stuff.
So cool.
It was so much fun, but we had to go across the room and like do a trick or something. And even like when people like I know I messed up my trick. But but like even when people messed up, everybody was just so supportive and just like clapping and cheering for everybody, and it was really cool. It's just a really nice environment.
It's really supportive. It's like a built-in support group. It's wonderful.
I really like it because we do a lot of things in class where we'll kind of one at a time or in pairs at a time go up and do something in front of everyone.
Yeah.
And it's one of the best environments I've been in for that, because sometimes in other classes it's like, okay, what am I gonna do to look like it's so good, and then you go up and of course you mess it up. But then here it's just like we're doing exercises and you don't have to do all that thinking and planning, and everybody has a lot of respect for each other's work. I feel like, kind of to your point. So I feel like because we all have that respect for each other's work, it's just a really great environment to be working in.
Yeah.
You can go ahead.
I just feel like it's short. Like I just feel like I can like run around the room looking like a fool, and everybody will just be like, "Oh, yeah, go Zoe," you know. Like I feel like I have done that before. Like I have. like sometimes I just like, okay, I just need to let it out, and then I'm just like screaming like and just running and like just going like that around the room, and everybody's like, okay, yeah. But it's not like I feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah, going
It's
off
like a space to create.
both of those things, like Cora was saying, in most of the spaces I've been in, I felt like I was performing or like being fake, and like I have to impress these people, I have to show them. But when I'm in the ensemble and we're doing something, I can just be more genuine and authentic, and I know if I mess up, then I'm gonna be supported, and these people are still gonna love me. They're not gonna think I'm completely untalented because I messed up. So it's very supportive. It's a very good and comfortable environment.
And along with that, all the arts teachers, including Mr. Maxner, everybody's just so supportive, and I feel comfortable in front of all my teachers to just mess up and then grow from that.
Something I've struggled with in the past is like asking questions in class, because I'm very like, if I don't have the right answer, I should not raise my hand, and like even that was like my mindset. But here it's very like, like in voice class or something, I found myself asking more questions, because I realized that the point of a question is to ask something when you don't understand it, or like to raise your hand even if it might not be the right answer because it might help someone else. So I've really been able with like teachers, and I don't feel embarrassed. Like if I mess something up in a game, or if I like ask like a question that maybe was wrong, or or I say something that maybe wasn't the correct answer, I don't feel embarrassed about it. I'm like, oh, because I'm sure other people are either thinking that, or no one's like sitting there like, oh, you idiot. Like it's very supportive, and even the teachers are so willing to answer basically anything you have to ask them. Yeah.
We're doing well.
I laugh just because it could be kind of a charge.
Yes, yes.
He was like, no, we're not.
I'm very glad to be able to say that, because we have been in moments where I would not say that, and you know, that's the way it is. A lot of everyone's success depends on our ability to work together. You know, and have food tastes better when the chef is happy,
That is true.
and you're the chef, right? So your work is better when you enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
And if we're busy thinking about all that other stuff of, you know, when you're up in the space, if you're thinking about so-and-so not liking your work, then we're off already.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's gotta be easy. Supportive. Fun. So we're good right now.
What?
You made a movement. I'm like,
There's a total
I'm-
office
I
moment.
was just
We're
like-
still in the office right now.
But I think when we were talking about the ensemble, it's there are people in the ensemble that I don't talk to a ton, and there are people in the ensemble that I talk to so much. But I think so. It's not like we all sit together, all 20 of us, and talk about our secrets, and then we know them and we make each other bracelets. So I mean, I have friends, and then I have people who I don't talk to as much. But everybody, people get along.
Yeah, people
And
get
even
along.
if you don't talk to people as much, I feel like there's less of an energy of, oh, they hate me.
Yeah. No.
So, and I think people are very willing to work with each other. So, because I've been, partnered up with people that I don't talk to all that much, but then it's not a problem. So.
and you're not like, I don't talk to that person because I hate that person or it's anything they've done. It's just like, maybe you don't see them.
Yeah.
You don't have to be best friends with everyone in this ensemble
No.
to work together. Like, I'm able to work with, like, anyone, basically, in this, and sometimes I can't say that about groups, but I genuinely feel like I can work with anyone in the ensemble, whether they are my best friend in the ensemble or someone I have talked to twice.
Do you wanna talk a little bit about what you did last night?
Midsummer?
Midsummer.
Me and Daniel went to go see, we'll observe, college rehearsal of Midsummer Night's Dream. And that was fantastic. That was so cool to watch. And there was one moment where it was during the rave scene where all the fairies were just like going absolutely crazy. Their interpretation of Midsummer is set in rave culture. And there was one part where weirdly I was like getting emotional watching like everybody just like partying on stage, because I was like, but it was like so crazy, and it was like a cool dance, and I was like, this is the work I want to be doing, like that. Like I want to be up there like just creating and just like doing, and like I was like, yeah.
Yes, going to see that last night was probably one of my favorite things that I've done here. I mean, just seeing them work together and create something, because I've done Midsummer Night's Dream before, but I've never done it in this interpretation. So when I was told it was a rave, I was like, oh, I don't know about that. But I watched it, and the way they did it, it worked so beautifully, and it created such an interesting perspective that I wanted to watch. And watching them perform inspired me even more and made me like reinforce the idea that this is what I want to do. This is something that I love, and being able to create that as a actor is something I would love to do. So no, it was amazing to watch, and watching them work together. They're just some incredibly talented people. So.
It was also just really cool to see the collaboration between like the director and choreographer with the actors. Like the director wasn't like, oh, so you go over here now.
Yeah.
And then that. It was like, what do you feel like you should do? And like some collaboration with like ideas. Like they were working with like fabric yesterday, for this sequence with Puck, and like they were like trying to come up with like ideas for it, and like some of the actors were like suggesting
And
stuff.
we were very welcome.
Yes.
Like they came to us, they greeted us, they told us their name, we told them ours. They were very friendly. And we felt very welcome, or at least I did. I don't
No,
wanna speak.
I'm-
Upperclassmen, eh?
Yes.
Yeah. I know, it's crazy. Yeah.
That, what they're talking about is, what we've started doing is that on certain nights, students will go into the college rehearsals and watch the college rehearsals. And they'll go in multiple times to the same rehearsal, so they'll see it go in process.
Yes.
And what we hope to do is catch the table work of Cider House and different aspects of what we're doing, because those students, those amazingly talented students that you saw are just doing the same thing that you're doing. They've just been doing it a couple years more. And I want you to be able to see what this college offers at that level, so that when you go visit a school, you'll have some standard
Yes.
for what you're looking at. So that when you go see the juniors, or if they take you to the freshman class, you'll be able to go, okay, hold it. Let me see what is the quality of this training by looking at their students. We'll also be going into actual acting classes, the second year acting classes, some of the voice classes, so that you can see what a college class looks like. And so that then when you visit a school, after you've been accepted to that school, or if you're going before, when you go on a tour, or maybe you go see their class, you'll have a reference.
And it was also cool. I was talking to two people who were in the high school ensemble 2 years ago who were in Midsummer Night's Dream last night. And it was just cool how they were like, "Oh yeah, I remember when I was in the program going to see the college rehearsals, but now they're participating in the rehearsal." So it was really cool.
One of the things that's happening for the first time, I've already said this to you guys, with your ensemble, on Sunday the 15th, from 12 to 1, you will perform one monologue down at the film school, where you will be filmed and then put into their library, so that if a fourth year film artist would like you, you can go do a fourth year. Not third year, second year, first year, just the fourth years.
Yes, sir.
And that has to do a lot with insurance and adults, but that's the way it goes. But that's brand new for us. This is the first year that high school students have been open for the film school students to use it.
And Krakauer.
And to work with Bob Krakauer, yes.
Yes.
One of the top best in the industry for coaching actors on film is coming to campus, and normally just college kids get it, but pushed our way in.
That's right.
Got it.
We're gonna take over.
Yeah.
And also just the college kids in general have just been like so welcoming to us. Like we went to go see the freshman monologues a couple weeks ago, and like each class, like the first year, second year, third year, fourth year, like came up and introduced themselves, and then they were like, "High school, you come up and introduce yourselves," and it was like, oh, like
You're part.
Yeah.
of it. You're part of it.
We're part of this one. That's great.
yeah, and then
They're not mad that we're here.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, cool.
That's weird.
no, yeah, and I've just talked to a lot of college kids in the drama program.
Because you see them around campus, and they're all extremely nice.
Yeah.
And the first years are just a step away from where you're at right
Yeah.
now. You know, they still remember.
Yeah, and like especially some of the freshmen who I've talked to have either come from this high school program or Interlochen or Walnut Hill, so like they all know like the intensive
Yeah.
training that goes on.
It's been cool to talk to a few college students in their first year because they were in a college last year and then they transferred into here for their first year. And that was a really cool experience just to hear people talk about that. So I was like, okay, like it'll be fine if I show up to college and I hate it or something. Like, not that I'll just go to UNCSA, but life can happen and go on, and that those were really valuable
And
conversations.
I was also talking to a guy who auditioned for the high school program and didn't get in, but he's in the college program now, and I thought that was really cool. And there's like there's a Carnegie Mellon transfer here. There's what other school was there?
There was someone from Long Island.
Yeah, Long Island. There was some school in New York that somebody was a transfer for, but yeah.
Any new questions?
And it is 12:27.
Okay.
We scheduled for an hour and a half. We're about, I guess we lost 15 minutes.
Technical difficulties. Well, great. Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Hour and a half. And folks, thank you at home or in the office. Thanks for joining us. This wonderful video will be posted in about a week on our website if you want to go back and watch it. I usually make for kind of bad watching, but it'll be up there. with all the information.
Make a highlight.
And we'll have one of these in the second semester.
Yes.
So, thanks,
Thank
Kelly.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
We're still green, so don't say anything.